Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Takedown, a Splitting Hairs podcast brought to you by Jackrabbit Illustrated. This podcast, we focus on South Dakota State wrestling. Once again, I'm joined by my illustrious co-host, Jordan Shorrock. He's Jordan. I'm Chad. Today, we'll cover the results of the last weekend's three duels, and we'll get into a little bit of what's coming up tomorrow. Jordan, how's it going?
It's going good. Enjoying the halfway decent weather here this week. A little bit warmer temps than what we had last week.
Have you been dodging the COVID?
No, unfortunately.
No, me either.
A couple weeks ago, and getting back for anybody that follows my wrestling page, I've been kind of MIA there for a little bit on that. So hopefully I'll get started back up. I know that we're going to be making our picks here a little bit in this episode, so we will have our picks out for tomorrow.
Right, and maybe it's a little bit of a controversial take, but it's kind of true. If you don't get tested and you get the new strain, it's just a cold.
That is true.
That's what it was for me, anyway, and I hope that's the case for everybody. I'm really not wishing anything bad on anybody. So why don't you start us off, Jordan?
So we'll start off here a little bit ago. With everything going on, we haven't done any podcasts here. So the last duel that we haven't covered is South Dakota State versus UNI. It was
just go ahead and talk about the elephant in the room, okay?
Okay. I got two new dogs today, so they might show up here in a minute. I put them in their kennel, but they're not listening too well right now, so we might have to let them back out and let them be a guest appearance here. But we had the SIUe. We'll let them be their guest appearance now. Sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. He was talking about South Dakota State wrestling with Northern Iowa, right? That's what you were going to talk about?
Yes. So here's Nash. Yeah. So we had SDSU versus UNI. UNI was rated 22nd at the time. They were very COVIDly ill, but Doug still put a team together, which you got to love and appreciate.
Give him some credit for that, for sure, because others have just canceled.
Yep. SDSU won that 27-13. SDSU won 7 weights, 125, 141, 149, 165, 174, 184, and 285. And UNI won 133, 157, and 197. We also had some extra matches that day, and SDSU went 5-5 on that. And you'll hear a new name that we'll talk about here later in the show, Gabe Tagg. He won his first matches at Jackrabbit, and then Tanner Jordan won 2. Tanner Cook got another pin, and AJ Neville's also got another win there in an extra match.
You know, everything I see goes by Gabriel. Is he Gabe's cool? I heard Coach call him Gabe once too. So does he go by Gabe? Do you know him?
I honestly don't know him at all. I know that's what the wrestlers call him, is Gabe, so that's just what I've always went off of.
A lot of times it's just because it's easier, right? And that's what I would do too. So then after that, we ended up down and the Virginia duels, right?
I believe that's what they're called.
The Virginia duels, and we wrestled against Chattanooga. We ended up 35-10 versus Chattanooga, and we got wins at 125, 141, 57, 65, 74, 97, and at heavyweight again, 285. Chattanooga ended up catching one at 33, 49, and 84. So that was a pretty good showing there for us. It's glad to get those duels in. And then after that, we wrestled.
We went on and wrestled Maryland out there again at the Virginia duels. And that week we came 24th in the rankings after defeating UNI, by the way. And we won the Maryland duel 28-6. We won 8 matches there at 25, 33, 141, 149, 57, 74, 97, and heavyweight again. And Maryland won 165 and 184. One thing to note, kind of wasn't a good weekend for Tanner Jordan. Not that he got beat, but it was 2 forfeits, unfortunately, for him. Yeah. So he had to go out there, make weight, travel all the way out there, and didn't even get a match. But
Coach talked about that a bit on his weekly update, how Tanner just wants to wrestle, give me 5 matches, whatever. Right. So, and then after that, we ended up, which was last weekend, was the next duels that we had. And if you weren't paying attention, that was a pretty good outing. You need to you got to get watching this team. If you're not watching them, they're exciting. They're dynamic. The atmosphere in Frost tomorrow is going to be just electric. We need you there to make some noise. Jordan's got a challenge to get twice as many fans as the last duel, which I don't recall what that number was. Something like 1,800 people, was it? Putting you on the spot. Oops, you're muted.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at, or that's what I'm hoping for, is about 1,800. We should have a good student turnout tomorrow night, as the students get to, every student that shows up is $2 put towards the pot, up to $4,000. One student will walk away with that money towards tuition this semester. So if their tuition's already paid, that's just cash in their pocket then.
Yeah, students need to show up because Jordan wants to win that money. So we went on and we wrestled Missouri last week, and it was on ESPN Plus, which was excellent, by the way. And the broadcast was very good too. The later matches the next day on Sunday, they weren't quite as high a quality, but the guys did an excellent job. And we started off with 125. Tanner Jordan, who we were talking about, who really wanted to get some matches in at the Virginia duels and couldn't. He was wrestling number 12 Noah Certain, and that's spelled Surtin, just so you're certain. Bad joke there. He's number 12 in the nation, and he lost 6-0. And how that match broke down is Certain kind of took him down, and and then Tanner got on a skate, or let's see, how does that work? I don't know. Tanner had an unfortunate reversal of a really nice shot at the end of the second period, but Certain kind of got him on a rolled over on him and got the takedown right before time expired, 2 seconds left. And then in the third, Certain just rode him out, and then there was a really quick 2-swipe, like I would say maybe even controversial quick if you go back and watch it. You didn't even see the first one, and he got, it was like bing bing, like, and so that's why the score ended up the way it did. And I know Tanner would have wished to kind of had a little closer match than that, but then up next is the guy you were talking about.
Yep. Next we had Gabe. He took on the old SDSU back in Bono days, Connor Brown, if we all remember him as a freshman when he came in here and was a good 125-pounder for us, and then decided to transfer and head to Wisconsin when Bono left, and then that fell through, and he ended up at Missouri. And, that match was about as quick as Connor Brown's time here at SDSU. Gabe got him in a freestyle headlock right there and put him on his back and pinned him there in 27 seconds. That was tight. I think I lost my breath watching that, as it did take Connor a couple seconds to get up afterwards because it was so tight. But that's just something that I expect to see out of Gabe. He's a big freestyle wrestler.
And you saw Connor wave his hands because I think he was losing breath right at that moment, and then it got pinned, and then he came back. But if you didn't get a chance to see it, Gabe had like a front head body lock, and he had the inside leg, and he just tripped over on him. Like every throw to me these days looks like something Tanner Cook could do. It kind of looked like something Tanner Cook could do, maybe a little different style because Tanner likes to go up over his back a lot. But that was one of 2 matches that I think really set the tone for the duel. That started it. And we'll get to the second one quite a ways down the line. And that was 27 seconds in. I can't remember if you said that, but just super fast. And one other thing I'd like to point out is on Twitter, I said, hey, it's always good to beat Connor Brown, the Fordham Jackrabbit, and someone took offense to that. I don't know who they were. I don't know if they're an SDSU fan or not. They probably don't watch this podcast. But I'd just like to clarify that guy could be on our roster. And so the fact that our guy beats him, that's a good thing for us. That means our guy's a little better. Now, Will he always get that throw? Maybe not, but on that day, he was definitely the better wrestler. So after that, we had 141 pounds. We had number 9 Alan Hart wrestling our number 6 Clay Hart. Or sorry, Clay Carlson in the 6. That's a slip. And how that kind of broke down is Hart got a takedown with about a minute 32 left in the first. He entered the second period and had minute 26 ride time. Carlson deferred. Hart took down, got an escape. It was 3-0. Clay got a really deep shot, but then the period expired. And it went on. And with 58 seconds left, Clay finally got the takedown on a double, but it was kind of too little too late. And it kind of stuck because it ended up 4-2. And I think perhaps Clay, if he would have got into his offense a little sooner, could have got some points. But ifs and buts. After that, we have match you were going to look at.
Yep. And with that Clay match, if you watch it, Hart knows not to wrestle in Clay's positions.
That's
Hart
right. And he
knows
was
Clay
stalling
very well, and he shuts him down. And I think Hart is 3-0 against Clay in their college career, and Allen knows what he's doing against Clay. And every time Clay's right there, and I think you get a ref that wants to ride a little harder on somebody backing up or not necessarily attacking, that you might score. And I'm not saying Allen stalled in that match, but he definitely was not as aggressive as Clay was trying to be there.
Right. I wouldn't have said that the ref was not calling stalling, but
no.
It was one of those things that if it was at Frost, the crowd would have been calling for stalling. I mean, let's just be honest.
It was definitely a road duel, and that's the way that they go, and you got to wrestle through a diversity there.
Yeah, you gotta put yourself in a position where the ref doesn't matter, right? We'll talk about that more later.
At 149, we had 17th ranked Josh Edmond. He took down Danny Kimball 8-3. With this match and with the 125 match, and even a couple more times down here, we'll talk about it again. Not giving up bonus points is what pulled this big upset for the Jacks. The biggest win in SDSU's history, I'd probably say right now. And I don't think we'll be saying that for long, though, as I feel like this team is in the right direction here. But once again, Kimball just did not give up bonus points. He was outmatched, but he did what he had to do to not give up points to hurt the team.
That kid was super quick, and he was shooting in, and like the commenter said, he picked that guy up like a Kansas City Chiefs linebacker. It was some of the deeper shots I've ever seen. That dude's super quick. And sorry, Dan. Dan had some great performances this weekend. It was still a great performance. It just didn't end up, I'm sure, the way he wanted. After that, we had 157 pounds. We had our very own Kenny O'Neill wrestling the 21st rated Jarrett, and they say JQs, but it's spelled Jacques. So take it for what you want. I'll call him JQs. So in that match, JQs took Kenny down and escape. Kenny got an escape right away, and then he took Kenny down again, and then it was 3-0. He took him for another 2 in the second period, I guess. And Kenny got an escape with 58 seconds left in the second, and it just wasn't enough. There was another escape and a weird takedown near the end of the match, and it left it 7-3 with ride time not really being a factor. It was a win for the duel, and the fact that this is another match like the one just previous that we talked about, where Kenny really scrapped and didn't allow bonus points. This wrestler, JQs, had 8 bonus point wins up to this match. He was one of a couple of guys that were really good at getting bonus points. They had one guy with 12. I think that was probably Elam or someone, but oh no, it was the guy that was supposed to wrestle Keegan O'Toole. Anyway, so that was pretty huge in this match, like you were saying, to not have those bonus points really put us in the position to be where we were with, like the next match that you're going to talk about.
So at 165, we had Tanner Cook. He's ranked 27th. He was on the projected lineup. You would have said that he was going to go against number 1 in the country, Keegan O'Toole, and they decided to sit O'Toole for that weekend, or depending on the rankings, 3rd, 1, everything. Coach's poll has him number 1 right now. And they wrestled. He ended up wrestling Mitchell Balakin. And Tanner got the 5-2 win here. If you listen,
I think it was 6-2 with ride time though, wasn't it?
I don't think he got ride time in the
he didn't?
end.
Okay. The broadcast had said that it was, and so that's why.
Yep.
Yeah.
See, they didn't have that ride time clock on. That was the one disc fall that I did not like out of ESPN Plus, was they do not have a ride time clock, so we don't know to a normal sports fan, you don't even realize how important that is in the
They didn't have the team duel points.
Yeah.
They would put them up, but they weren't on there the entire time either.
So I mean, they had Tanner Cook had a game plan to go up against Keegan, and it was a last second change there, and so Tanner went out there and wrestled the best he could and came away with a 7-minute victory, which is huge because we don't see Tanner Cook wrestle too many 7-minute matches for us, and he got that. That kid had one job. You could tell that their coaches told him one job, and that was to not get thrown to his back by Tanner. And that kid did everything he had to do to not get thrown to his back by Tanner and get pinned. And Tanner still came out on top of that match, and that was a huge win for Tanner, even though it was a backup guy.
Tanner almost caught him in that front headlock, that one, but then it was right on the edge of the mat. So, yeah, and that kid scrapped pretty well. I'd give him some credit. He wrestled Tanner pretty tough, and yeah, made him work for his win, definitely. After that, we had the illustrious Cade DeVos, friend of the pod. He was ranked number 8 coming into this, and he wrestled this Sean Harmon, and he got an early takedown in the first and gave up an escape. Like, it was 2-1. The kid stalled quite a bit, and then Cade took him down to begin the second and got this. He got an escape. 40 seconds in, it's 3-1. Cade had a good shot and finished it with a resulting takedown with 4 seconds left, and then that Harmon got a quick escape too, went to a single leg and almost got a takedown. It was really a back and forth match. In the second, the Harmon kid chose down and got the escape, which brought it to a 2-point match, 5-3. Kid got himself another takedown, but then ended up giving up the escape there, so it was 7-4. And Cade had some really good offense, but that Harmon kid just had enough defense, that he didn't really get them last 3 takedowns to try and get those extra points. At that point, with the win, we're at 12-12 in the duel, and then we move on. So,
as you said, we hit 12-12 there at the duel at 174, and I think Missouri fans are smiling. They're saying, this is done. They ain't even sweating a little brick, and here comes the workhorses for SDSU. I mean, these are Damian Hahn's boys here in the upper weights. Damian's boys here, and Cade
I love sweating bricks. Much easier than the other, the other saying. Sorry, I couldn't help myself.
And Cade King comes out and pulls the first upset of the night in sudden victory. Knocks off 16th ranked Jeremiah Kent, 6-4 in sudden victory. Kent is definitely a guy that's gonna bend you, twist you, ride you, and everything. And Cade King went, "Let's go! I'm ready for this. Let's cowboy up and let's both put our saddles on and let's ride it out." And Cade did what he had to. Right off the bat, Kent shot, Cade shot, took head to head. King had to go get checked out for a concussion, and he came out, and I mean, for people that are around the program, they say that this is no surprise, as Cade King is a very good wrestler, and we know that, but he just has not put together very good matches. He still struggles to put together matches at his age, and I think that's something about us not redshirting him his freshman year is, he's a little younger, and and so everything went down there, and he came out on victory with the first upset, which really got the team rolling, I would say.
Yeah, and that was another huge factor in the duel, that gritty win that he got there. That was in sudden victory. He got the takedown. Them guys, like you said, they were doing a lot of the bending. Like one guy'd shoot in, and it was a good match, real tight, obviously by the score with the sudden victory win there. Up next, we had Tanner Sloan, and he was wrestling. Hi, Jordan. He was ranked. He's ranked 22nd in the nation, and he went against Rocky Elam, and Sloan got an early takedown. It was a single, and then Elam escapes. It's 2-1. Then Elam gets a single leg late in the first, and with 4 seconds left, he was awarded the takedown by the ref as he fell out of bounds. Right, so this was pretty critical because we knew it was going to be a tight match, and Han threw the brick, challenged it, and rightfully so. The replay, the one angle, the correct angle on the replay showed that clearly by the time the takedown actually happened, the guy's feet and momentum had carried him out of bounds, and the ref, threw his hand up at that point, and that's when he called the takedown. So the challenge, we won the challenge. We retained the brick, so that was pretty big. And then Elam chose down on the next period, and Sloan just picked him up and returned to the mat like 3 times in a row, which takes it out of a guy a little bit, and I think that factored in. Then he got an escape, and so it was tied 2-2, and Sloan got a takedown there on Elam with 10 seconds left. It was 4-2 in that period. Sloan took bottom on the next period, and then there was a weird stall warning with 40 seconds left. It went to a stalemate. It was really unclear on the broadcast who got the stall. Didn't end up meaning anything, and that was basically the end. It was kind of strange how that just kind of fizzled at the last end there, and so at that point it's 18-12. Jacks are ahead. Only a fall and Criteria win the duel. So,
and then at heavyweight, here comes out 22nd ranked AJ Nevels versus the brother, or the other Elam, and he was ranked 15. His name's Zach. And, AJ does the dirty.
Yeah, he did.
He gets the 3 minutes in the first period, and he rides him out in the second, I believe. And then he gets the escape in the third to take a 1-0 lead, plus his 2 minutes of ride time, and came out with another upset over the 15th ranked kid, 2-0, which also locked up the duel, which all AJ had to do was not get pinned, and we didn't get no stalling outs, and we finally got our first big victory, top 10 victory.
He really wrestled that kid tough too. He had some roll throughs that were real good. That kid shot pretty well on him. Just a kind of a note, February 12th of 2017 was Missouri's last dual loss, I guess. They had said that on the broadcast, and that was against UNI. So they'd been winning for a while, and I guess they must have had to avoid Oklahoma State at some point.
Conference loss.
Oh, conference loss.
Because in 17 they left and
went to that makes way more sense.
SIUe or what, a different conference, something, and then now they're back to the Big 12 this year.
That's right. I forgot they just came back to the Big 12. So after that, we had some extra matches. Trey Crawford from Missouri, decision Caleb Gross 4-2, and I'm sure Caleb would have liked to get a shot in there and had a chance at sudden victory.
And then at 197, Jack Flynn took on Nick Casperson, and he ended up pinning Nick in his extra matches there. But that was Nick bounced back the next day pretty good, and some more extra matches there.
Yeah, so after that, the Jacks had about 2.25 hours east to wrestle at Southern Illinois, Edwardsville. And they're going to they wrestled two different duels, so a triangular format versus SIUe and Central Michigan is who they went up to. And we ended up that the first duel was against Southern Illinois. I'm just going to call them Southern Illinois or SIUe. And we ended up beating them pretty handedly at 39-3. But I feel like probably a couple matches in there that were a little closer than we wanted to. We started off with Tanner Jordan, and he got a major decision versus Austin Macias. And that ended up being 14-3.
And then at 133, Gabe came out and did his freestyle life and tech the kid 16-0 in a minute 32. Quick tech fall there. He's going to be a bonus point scorer for us. I'm excited to watch him the next 3 years.
We are going to work to try and get that man on the pod and talk to him a little bit about his path here and what he had done previously with the Wolfpack. So after Gabe was up, after Gabe got his win, we had Clay Carlson, and he wrestled Saul Irvin, and I watched that match a little bit. That was kind of interesting because Irvin got a takedown right on the edge of the mat a minute into the first, and then Clay got an escape with a minute 30 left. Irvin got a takedown right away in the second. It was back and forth. And at the end, Carlson got a takedown at the edge of the mat with 30 seconds remaining. And that was really, really the big deal on that match. That's what made the whole thing. That's why he won 5-3 was that last second takedown. Another one of these matches where I feel like maybe Clay could get into his offense a little quicker. He was certainly the better wrestler than this kid, but he let him get some points. Some things went weird. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, are
we just being defensive on purpose? Is that the thought process there?
Clay just didn't have a good weekend, I don't think. And he took 2 losses, and honestly, out of the 2 losses, they were both of the top 10 ranked kids in the country. So you can't say that it was a bad weekend, but
no,
it wasn't Clay Carlson style of wrestling. We've had him on the pod. He told us he wants to score 10 points a match or 10 points a duel or whatever, or 10 a match and all that fun stuff. And it just didn't look like 10-point Clay this weekend. And I get closer matches are going to not look that way, but I would agree that he needed to step his offense up and try and get them 10 points in a match in that first takedown and all that stuff. I kind of seen a hesitant last year Clay where, as when he was on the pod, he talked, he always had to come from behind and grit it out. And we haven't seen that much out of Clay this year, but this weekend he definitely had to do that on this match. And then the other 2, as we'll talk about one later on, he did not get to grit it out as close as he wanted to there.
Yeah.
And then at 149, we have Danny Kimball, and he had a 4-2 sudden victory win over Caleb Tyus. And, this match, I think Kimball's still kind of fitting into the role at 149 and learning and that kind of stuff. I don't think that he necessarily expected to be the starter this year, and we'll talk about that here coming on a little bit later. But he's really stepped up and did a good job this year, and he's still learning how to do it all. And he's young, and this match was a little closer than it probably should have been if you look at paper. But he did what he had to do to win, and that's what good wrestlers do. Sometimes you don't win by a million, you win it by 1 or 2, and it's the conditioning and the things at the end of a match that do it, and that's what he did there.
There's nothing wrong with a scrappy, gritty win. That's what this ended up being. Yeah, on paper, maybe it should have been a bigger win, but it was a really gritty win. And I would just like to point out, a little foreshadowing, I know we talked about this right before the pod, but this is the point where I feel like, so this ref was the same ref for the next duel. And at this point in times when I notice on the broadcast, the refs kind of having some conversations with their staff. Now, our staff hadn't really said anything that could be heard. I mean, you could hear them, but they didn't say anything controversial other than regular coaching things. So next up, we had Kenny O'Neill, and he was wrestling Max Christoph, and he got a decision. It was a fairly high scoring match, 12-10. Kenny's a tough wrestler too, and you can never count that guy out. A 2-point loss when he scored 10 points, man, that's just a rough one to lose.
This is a match that I personally think Kenny wins in the future again if they ever wrestle again. For the people that did not get to watch it, the guy started out throwing Kenny to his back for 6 to start the match.
Mm-hmm.
And Kenny had to grip back, had to cut him, had to do this, had to do that. Kenny had to wrestle a very in control, but out of control, not what the
off balance
game
maybe.
Plan. Yeah, off balance. Not what the original game plan was for this match. And Kenny did a great job, and unfortunately, he came up short. And I mean, really, this was another one that I personally think we could have seen some more stalling calls in here.
Definitely.
At the end there, because if I remember right, I mean, there were so many matches, but if I remember right, that kid didn't wrestle the last minute. I think he picked up 3 stalling calls in the last minute, and he was never quit backing up the last minute. And then at 165, we had Tanner Cook, and he came out here and did Tanner Cook things. Got the fall in 4 minutes and 24 seconds over Wilson, and he's just continued to do it. I talked to Tanner after the UNI duel, and I had to get a quote from him for the Collegian, the SIUe paper that I write for, and like he said, I'm just here to try and put people in the stands right now, pretty much. Like, he tries to put on the most exciting show he can for us in that 7 minutes, and he surely did that so far this year, and did that against SIUe.
Yeah, he does an excellent job of, making things exciting, even if they don't last very long. But we'll take it. It gets the crowd energized, especially at home. Look for him to squish some fish this week. After that, we had Cade DeVos, and he got a decision versus a guy whose last name I'm not going to even try and pronounce. It's okay. I'll try. Gwishwinter. No, it's Kevin G, brother to Kenny G, and plays a little less flute. Cade got a good win here, 14-8. My personal opinion on this match was Cade did a good job. It was a good match, but he didn't look as sharp as I thought he could have, and I thought maybe he looked a little hesitant at the beginning too. Can't argue with a 14-8 win too much, other than maybe the kids should have had less points and it should have been a major or a tech. But that's the way it goes sometimes. You're in your second match after a big win. The big wins can really affect the team, and I think that's what we started seeing here in these next 2 duels.
And then at 84, we sent Cade King out, and I'm just gonna say Sergio V, and he defeated him 5-1. Cade looked like Cade again. I mean, he's definitely, you can tell he's coming off that injury and getting back to form now. He's back in the room practicing, and the energy levels are getting there. And I think by the end, we'll see him back ranked in the top 33 in the country here by the end of the season.
I think so too. And I think if you break that down, it's pretty easy. It's Villa Lobos. So House of Coyotes or Wolves. After that, sorry. The other one's more German, and it's Geschwinder. Kenny G's brother, Kevin, trust me. Tanner Sloan was up next at 197 pounds. He got a fall, which was great. Sloan pins guys too. He does. yeah, he tends to be a little bit more technical and score points, but excuse me, you got to fall 1 minute and 35 in of some guy named Ryan Yarnell. Tanner's wrestling better, I think. We see him on that trajectory to get back to where he was last year before he got injured. I don't know personally, but I think he's starting to get a little more healthy, and so it's good to see him get a fall.
And then at heavyweight, AJ went out there and continued the pinning ways and defeated Colton McKerman in a fall or in a time of 1 minute and 16 seconds, and that pelted the Jacks to the defeating victory again and brought our win streak to 9 on the duel, I believe. Eight straight on the season there. And I mean, the matches were close, but we weren't too, I mean, we still dominated on the team score. And I do think that the way that they did things and traveling and that kind of stuff, it was a good test for the team. And they had to go through some diversity. And I do believe that the team spent the night in Missouri.
They did, yeah.
And then went in the morning and took the bus ride. It was a very interesting time, or an interesting bus ride, I'm sure, for them, because you're so hyped up from the night before. Plus, you got to cut your weight back down and all that fun things. And I mean, I think that they wrestled kind of decently for what we expected here for being a young team, that first duel.
Yeah, youth is a factor. It's something that I hadn't really thought about, but that does make a difference. And outside of our upper weights, the upper two, we have a lot of youth. After that, at 3:00, we got to watch a really strange broadcast. We were lucky to have it, but it was a different angle because it started out at the wrong portrait landscape. So that's what I meant by strange. Appreciate the work that I believe the gals did. I believe it's gals that were filming that. So thank you. Shout out to that because we got to watch our match. The other strange part is there was a lot of Central Michigan fans on the thing, and good thing is I just didn't have that part showing, so I didn't watch it. But when they were on there, they were a bit obnoxious. So we ended up losing this duel, and I think it's fair to call what happened with some of the matches and throughout the matches a little bit controversial. And I'll let you talk about when we lose team points. So to start with, we had Tanner Jordan wrestling versus Brock Bergelin, and he got pinned at 3:32, 3 minutes and 32 in, and so we didn't start off real well either. So the energy was already not as high as we would have liked, but that didn't help.
Yeah, that was a quick slap. That's all I got to say about that. Was it started out with a quick slap, and the SDSU wrestlers were not a fan of that slap. And if you listen to the thing, you heard them kind of chatting off on the bench about it every single time. Gabe came out again at 133 and did Gabe things, put up 114-2. If I remember right, he cut him to get a takedown at the end, and the kid then decided he was going to wrestle for the final 15 seconds, and kind of everything went down, and we missed that tech fall. But I mean, we still got the bonus points with the major there, and at this point in time, they had
the wheels started coming off.
Yes, the wheels started coming off. Gabe, in my opinion, had this kid on his back longer than Tanner Jordan was on his back.
Absolutely.
But like I said, their ref didn't want to slap it. The bench was not happy. There was some words exchanged here in was it 33-41? I don't even remember when it all went. I shouldn't even say words exchanged. There was a comment made on the bench.
Oh, you're stalling.
Yes, he was
backing up, and he finally called the stall.
Yep, and they called the stall, And somebody
and
from
one coach says thank you, right? That's what he
yes.
says. Thank you.
And one coach said thank you, which if you listen to us, you always hear the coaches say thank you when they get a stalling call. And then somebody else said don't be scared to hit him again. The ref wasn't scared to hit us with minus a team point because we said don't be scared, I guess. I don't know. And then so we lost a team point there in the duel, but Gabe still picked up that thing and we went on to 41.
Yeah, we went on to 41, and in a really strange match that I don't want to get too into. Clay ended up losing to the number 10 kid from CMU, and I don't know. I'll let you talk about it if you want to. Otherwise, we can move along.
We can probably just move along.
Let's move along.
This
All
duel
right.
will be one that's probably has an asterisk in my mind forever.
So up next, we had 149 pounds, right?
Yep. 21st, Corbin Munson defeated Danny Kimball by a score of 9-2. Another decision. Kimball keeping matches close. I mean, when you're outpowered, or don't want to say outpowered, but when you wrestle somebody, Han's biggest thing is to keep it within 7 points. And Kimball did that this match again.
Yeah, Danny's really been scrapping well. I've been impressed with his wrestling. Even if he's not getting the win, he's really hanging tough and wrestling hard. At 157, we got another decision. It was a sudden victory decision. Take it for what it's worth. 8-6 was the score, and we'll just keep this thing moving.
Yeah, and we will say that was a very good match by Kenny O'Neill.
It was a good match.
17th in the country, so
yeah, it was an excellent match.
Mm-hmm.
After that, we had 165.
Yep, and we had Tanner Cook doing Tanner Cook things again. Put the CMU kid right on his back in 1:09, and Tanner Cook did what I'm going to just go out there and say it. Every kid needed to do for SDSU and take it out of the referee's hands that match. Yeah. And Tanner did that, and Tanner went and put him on his back and got the pin and got the points and walked off, and that was that.
Yeah, it's hard to argue when you pin the kid, other than maybe he didn't slap the mat fast enough or at all. But yeah, I mean, when you put the kid on his back the way Tanner did, it's no question. After that, we had 174 pounds, which was probably the match that bothered me the most with the ref. And I don't really bag on wrestling refs like I do football refs. So I know I bag on football refs a lot, so that maybe doesn't lead credence to that comment. But for the most part, I don't comment on refs outside of at the match. And Cade lost in sudden victory to this kid, and I thought the whole match was kind of a crock. And I'm just going to leave it at that. So it was a 8-6 sudden victory win by Johnny Lovett, which I don't even know. He's number 17th in the country.
It was
excuse me, or my bad, Brett. I was off on my names here. Brett Fawada, and yeah, I think he's an unranked kid, isn't he?
Yes.
So that's horrible going into seedings for Big 12s, and I've heard some speculations about Big 12, Big 10, whatever. Yeah, let's move on.
I will say that we lost another team point there, unfortunately, and it was a questionable. Was it that match actually? We challenged that match. Was that when we?
We challenged it, and he went over and looked at the monitor. He didn't look at the monitor. He walked over there, and when they played it, and he just kind of looked off to the side and shook his head no, and went back to the end of the match.
Attitude.
Yeah.
With attitude. The girls did a great job, or whoever did the taping did a great job. They filmed him walk over. He had his attitude. You could see his head off in the air. I don't even know if the thing was moving anymore. And he swiped his hand like he was counting near fall. He wasn't even paying attention. He had that call made up. And that is my biggest problem with the NCAA wrestling challenges. Take it out of the egotistic referees' hands, because let's face it, we're all wrestlers. We're all ex-wrestlers. Wrestlers are egotistic. We all think that
No.
we did the best thing ever. I mean, it's that way. We're all hard-headed. We come to battle, and we ain't going to be told we're wrong, and we ain't going to change our ways. And I mean, that's any referee. And I mean, Damien has a great reputation of challenging, but I don't know. I mean, it just needs to be taken out to a second source for challenges, I feel like.
Yeah, that would be nice if they had the resources to do that. I think that's not a terrible idea. One thing we didn't mention earlier, we're on the ref train. I'm just going to keep it rolling. With the hit him again thing, there, I think it was at that same point that after he took a team point, the ref threatened. It was a threat because you could literally hear him on the broadcast saying, "Do you want to forfeit?" You know, not as a question, but as a threat. And from that point on, man, this is why I'm bagging on the ref. Like, you can't do things like that. And what's strange to me, same dude that wrestled the last duel, and we didn't really have any issues with that guy in that duel. So I don't know. So let's keep rolling. We're not getting anywhere with this discussion.
At 184, Cade King went out there and won 3-1 over Ben Cushman.
Tanner Sloan gets another fall after that in 1:28. Tanner picking up a couple pins. That's good to see. Like I said, I think he's starting to hit his stride a little bit.
And then at 285, AJ Nevels, which is ranked 22nd, took on number 9 in the country, Matt Stencil. Stencil won this 6-3. You think a 3-point score? AJ was there until the very end. AJ had to take a desperation shot to try and win it and got taken down. AJ is that match right there. I'd say AJ is right in the top 10 in the country again. And I expect AJ to really be going there.
AJ's got a really nice shot when he decides to take a shot for a heavyweight, at least in my opinion. And maybe that might come into play in future matches, like against dudes that like to throw people. I don't know who I'm talking about. Anyway.
February 20th, we might find out who you're talking
February 20th, we might find out who I'm talking about. Might have been what I was alluding to. After that, we got a couple extra matches, which is always nice. Caleb Gross got a win against Vince Perez, 9-3 win there. Solid for Caleb.
At 149, Jack Thompson, Jackpot, went out there and got an 8-6 win over Mason. That was another big win. It was just a big win for Jackpot. He hasn't wrestled a whole lot this year, so that was nice to see.
And then after that, we got our buddy Nick Casperson. God, I love watching that guy wrestle. And he got a pin there on Cade Dalwitz, which is nice because, you know, I mean, he had a tough match the match before.
So, yeah, we're just gonna put that duel behind us. Unfortunately, our win streak ended, but you know what they say: every good streak ends to start a new one. And the team really showed good diversity there, and I think they'll be ready to go Friday to prove a point. And I mean, if you even look at the rankings, some people that watched that match or had heard about that match, there were some matches that we did not get hurt in the rankings for getting a loss. But we headed to the North County Open or Country Open, North Country Open also last weekend. We sent 4 wrestlers there. The first one was Derek Cardinal at 133, and he went 2-2 on the weekend.
Trent Anderson also wrestled at 133 pounds. He went 1-3 on the weekend.
And then Cale Swenson was a 157-pounder last weekend, and he went 2-2 on the weekend.
And rounding out that there, we had Kalen Meyer that wrestled at 174, and unfortunately, he ended up 0-3 on the weekend.
So now we get back into the topic of rankings here again, as we talked here a little bit ago about some kids not getting hurt. The coaches poll came out since our last podcast.
Yep.
Which it comes out 3 times a year.
It's typically the most accurate.
Yes, the coaches put it on. It's what they look at to figure out who gets at-large bids and all that
for the NCAA tournament.
Yep,
for those that aren't
tournament,
not clear to.
Then RPI. The first one, we have Clay Carlson at 141. He's ranked 6th.
Tanner Cook at 165, wrestled 27th, which is a little bit low in my opinion. Biased.
At 174, we had Cade DeVos, and he's 8th.
Also, I think maybe he's a little better than that. But if he continues on and he ends up 8th in the country, we know what that means, right?
Yes.
That's an
Baby.
All-American. Baby. Cade's looking to get that All-American. After that, we have at 197 pounds, we have Tanner Sloan. He's ranked 22nd in the country. And that's just a killer weight class. I think that anyone in the top 20 is really close to most of the guys in the top 10. And I guess the number one ranked guy got in a car accident, I heard this weekend. And I really do hope he's okay, with all sincerity. But it sounded like he is. So hopefully that doesn't mess up his career.
So it sounds like he'll be back. I don't know when. They said it could be a long road to recovery, but best wishes to AJ and hope he gets back soon there.
AJ Ferrari for those.
Yeah, I was just going to say Ferrari, not AJ Neville's for our SDSU fans. And then at 285, we have SDSU's AJ Neville's, and he's ranked 22nd in the coaches poll.
So we got some other polls too. Gabe Tags ranked at 133 by Intermat at 32nd in the country.
I expect Gabe to be ranked in the next coaches poll. You have to have X amount of matches, which was not there yet.
Yep, he only had a few.
And then at 141, you have Clay Carlson. He is ranked 7th on flow and 13th on open mat and intermat.
Tanner Cook, he's again, I think he's underranked. That's just my opinion. The dude's out there breaking necks, cashing checks at 165 pounds. He's an honorable mention on flow, and we all know flow's garbage. And unless it's in our favor, then they know what they're doing. But and 30th on intermat.
At 174, Cade DeVos is ranked 10th on intermat and 11th on flow and open mat.
184, Cade King, who we know is a better wrestler than like you said earlier. He is a very excellent wrestler, and I think that's starting to come through. I think we're going to see that more here in the back half of the year, and he's an honorable mention on flow.
And then at 197, you got Tanner Sloan. He's ranked 12th on intermat and 21st on flow. I would say that the intermat's more accurate, but unfortunately Tanner had some 4 losses earlier in the year, but we got redemption on one of them.
Yes, he did.
Missouri, so
nothing wrong with that. So at 285, we got AJ Neville's, and he's ranked 23rd on intermat, 20th on flow, and 16th by Win Magazine, who I met the owner of Win Magazine this year in a semi-unrelated story outside of the bakery in Pella, Iowa, known as Yarsma, as I was at the Knoxville Nationals. And he was quite an interesting individual to talk to. He went over and was covering the Olympics. And if you're into wrestling, I would suggest you take a look at the production that he has. He has a good magazine that he puts together.
And then the team, Win Magazine is one of them that I don't think really looked up to see the Central Michigan results too much because of what went on. And he has us ranked 16th. We're ranked 23rd again this week. We did not go up or down in the team coaches poll. We're 24th on intermat. And since our last podcast, we've also had the first rankings of the mid-majors for the season come out. And we are 3rd behind Leola and Cornell for the team there.
And I think we could probably take Leola. Cornell, they're a good team. Well, who knows? So how tough is the Big 12? I want to say we have 33 wrestlers per weight class, and at 174 and 197, we kind of alluded to this earlier, and not 197 be full of pounders. They have 9 guys that are ranked. So that's nothing to sneeze at. We wrestle it. Easy for me to say. We wrestle in a very tough conference, and we're with the big boys. In wrestling, there is no Power 5, and we're there, man. We're doing it.
Yes, and this is for the people that I guess listening up in there. It's the coaches poll that we're talking about here.
Yeah. In the coaches poll.
At 285, there's 8 ranked wrestlers in the Big 12.
At 133 and 165, there's 7.
And at 125, 141, 157, and 184, there's sixth ranked wrestlers.
And there's 5 that are ranked in 149. So it's a tough conference.
Yes, very tough conference. And we're going to see wins and losses there.
I'm going to laugh when the dog's on screen. Can't help it.
So tomorrow night, 7 p.m. sharp, the 23rd ranked Jackrabbits will take on West Virginia. It's another Big 12 duel. If you can't be there, unfortunately, due to something, sickness, I don't know, weather's supposed to be good, I think. So hopefully that's not a excuse. Maybe some miles. Check it out on Flow Racing. Sorry, back to my old things. Flow Wrestling. And you will need a subscription for that, but you could watch the Jackrabbits take on the Mountaineers.
Yeah, it's going to be a great match, great atmosphere. Jordan's going to be wearing his bibs, I think, or not.
Yeah, they'll be bibbed out tomorrow night.
Should I show up in my bibs and stand next to you?
If you're coming, let's do it.
All right, I'll do it if you save me space. I got a seat, but I don't like sitting at wrestling.
So I got a little confession to make here. This kind of makes me a little sad. This will be my last duel in Frost Arena as a student, as unfortunately we're racing and work will call in February for one. I'm headed to February for 10 days to work on sprint cars, and unfortunately that's the last 3 duels in Frost Arena for us. So this will be my last as a student, so I'll be bibbed out, and you'll hear me screaming and yelling and living it up one last time as a student here in Frost Arena.
Well, maybe I'll provide you a path forward as a non-student in bibs yelling and screaming next to you.
Sounds good.
Never too old, man.
No.
All right. Well, the Jackrabbits enter the week with a 9-2, 2-0 record. West Virginia's 5-3 and 1-0. Excuse me. This is West Virginia's first matches since December 20th. That could be a benefit. They could be rusty. They could be fired up. We know they got some studs on their lineup that we're going to have to face.
Yes. Do we want to go ahead and do the picks, or do we just want to put them out later?
I think for time's sake, we'll do those later.
Okay.
Unless you just want to do it live. Maybe let's just do it.
Okay,
You go ahead at 125. Go ahead.
Okay, so at 125, we got Tanner Jordan versus Killen Cardinal. I got Cardinal with the major here.
I would tend to agree. Cardinal will get a major. He's number 6 in the country. That's a stout wrestler.
At 133, we got Gabe Tagg versus Michael Donlin. I'm going with Gabe with another tech fall or pin. I'm going to say tech fall here. He's a big point getter here, so that should be interesting.
I'm going to go Gabe, but I'm going to go major decision. After that, what's that? Just go ahead.
At 141, we have number 6 in the country, Clay Carlson, versus Lucas Siebert. I got Clay with a pin here.
You do. I'll go major decision again.
Clay with the major. At 149, we have Danny Kimball versus Jeffrey Boyd. This is a rematch from the Southern Scuffle. Boyd came out on top 3-1 in an overtime win. I got Kimball coming out with a win this weekend here at home in front of Frost. Will propel him to the win with the decision.
I think he sneaks the decision too. Yep. Let's go with it. I'm on board. After that, no, go ahead. You just go.
At 157, we have Kenny O'Neill versus Alex Hornfeck. I got Hornfeck with the decision here.
Likewise.
At 165, we have number 27th in the country, Tanner Cook, versus number 9 in the country, Peyton Hall. I got Hall with a major here.
When's Tanner going to get a big fish?
Coming up, hopefully. I don't know. Hasn't had one this year yet.
I'll put it on the line. Let's go. Tanner will get him.
Look for the pin, huh?
Yeah. Let's do it.
At 174, we got number 8 in the country, Cade DeVos, versus Scott Joel. I got DeVos with the decision.
Yeah, I think this is a tighter match too. I'm inclined to agree with you there at the decision. Yep.
At 184, we got Cade King versus Anthony Carmen. I got Carmen with the decision here.
Agreed. Carmen, I think, gets it done. It's a little better. If you look at him side by side, he has a little better record, so to speak.
At 197, we got 22nd ranked Tanner Sloan versus Jackson Muma. I got Sloan with the pin.
I'm taking it. I'll agree with you 100% on that one. It's gonna amp up the crowd for the next big dude.
And at 285, we got 22nd ranked AJ Nevels versus 21 ranked Michael Wolfgram. I got AJ with the crowd pumped after that big Sloan win. I got AJ coming in and pulling the one higher ranking upset, I guess.
With
the decision.
Upset. Yes, I think he pulls it off, and I would venture to say that he wins by 2 points.
Sounds good. So, my picks were already made, so I got my final prediction at 26-14. You're going to be pretty close there too.
Yeah,
here,
we'll have to go back and calculate mine. That's fine. So we had other Jackrabbit news. Tanner Sloan was named the Big 12 Wrestler of the Week, and as we pointed out, in that weight class, that's no small feat.
And then they also came out with the first thing of rankings as they give awards for most pins on the season, most tech falls, and all that kind of stuff. Tanner Cook, according to their records, is ranked 4th in the country in falls. He's 2nd. The top 3 are tied with 10 apiece. My records show he has 10 pins in D1. By the way, they only count D1 pins. So I don't know if my records are wrong or their records are wrong or what. He does have 3 D2 pins, so them do not count towards his stuff or towards the award. But that's something to watch as the season goes on here with pins.
And all he can do is get another one tomorrow, like I said.
Yeah. And then we have some Jackrabbit family news, I guess I'm going to call it. Unfortunately, we've seen Zach Price enter the transfer portal here. Danny Kimball is now our 149-pounder, and we'll hold that spot down for now. And Zach plans on transferring out and heading to a different school and getting a fresh start here after he finishes with this semester of college here at SDSU. Tate Batani, he was a transfer this season from ISU. He decided to step away from wrestling.
Iowa State for those unfamiliar.
He decided to step away from wrestling, go home and finish his degree at Iowa State, as he only had 1 semester there, or he would have 2 here before he graduated. And then we also have lost Hunter Marco off the team. He was our 133-pounder. He came from Minnesota. I have not talked to Hunter. I seen he did put on Instagram something about being at home, back on the grind. So I hope well wishes to all 3 of them. And then we have some exciting news for you to talk about here.
Yeah, I just want to welcome Gabriel Tagg to the Jackrabbit family. You know, he's a UNC transfer. He took a little over a year off, kind of like Danny Vega's story. He has a 28-7 college career record, a win percentage, 51.44. Not win percentage, but bonus point wins. He gets 51.43% of the times. You love to have those guys on your rosters when you're trying to win duels. He has 3 years of eligibility left. He's an Ohio kid. Like you said earlier, he's known for his freestyle wrestling. He was a bronze medal winner at the 2019 Junior World Championship. And he was the U.S. Open Junior Freestyle Championship at 61 kilograms. So that's that same team that Tanner Sloan was on. He got gold in 2019 at the Austria Flats Open at 65 kilos for Team USA, and he's trained at the U.S. Olympic Training Center. So the guy knows how to wrestle, and freestyle is his game.
He's a big move, fun guy to watch, and he's going to fit in good at 133 for us there. Also, every Wednesday still Cubby luncheons at noon. If you're in Brookings, stop by and have some lunch with the coaches and get some inside information there.
The Big 12 season tickets to the Big 12 tournament are now on sale at gojacks.com.
And then I got some sad news here. Unfortunately, the 4th annual Jackrabbit Wrestling Club raffle and silent auction has been postponed until after the season. They got to do what's best for the team and keep the athletes away from COVID and that kind of stuff, as the athletes are your servers and stuff like that. So they're planning on rescheduling that after the season, and we'll keep you guys up to date when that is more things are there.
Yeah, look for that to come out. That's the deal where you spend $250 and you get 2 tickets to the event, you and a guest. It's drinks, it's open bar basically, and one guest goes home with $10,000. So it's a heck of a deal. If it's something you can swing, you should look into it, because you get to hobnob with the kids and the wrestlers, excuse me, and the coaches, and it's a way to really get some insights on the program that you maybe wouldn't get elsewhere.
You got anything else you want to talk about?
I think we'll call it at a little over an hour.
I got one more little rant here, quick.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we rode the reps a little bit here in that Central Michigan thing, but as we've said all along, diversity is what builds teams and characters, and we're a young team, and I think that we have learned from that they have to compete, and you got to take it out of the refs' hands, and you got to fight through, and I think it's only going to make us stronger, and come March, they're going to be ready to go.
That's what makes sports great, is because it emulates life. There's always going to be some adversity, and you got to figure out how to get around that adversity and, beat it in the future, find ways around it to win. So I agree with you. I think the adversity is good for the kids. If you've never lost, that wouldn't be a good thing to be in your life. Learn more from losses than wins. Don't know how many coaches would agree with that, but I would guess all of them. Well, with that, I think we're done for the night. Jordan, let's have a get jacked on 3. 1, 2, 3. Get jacked.